Okay, I'm live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, yesterday, something happened on the space station, and it's an interesting thing to talk about. So, I'm going to play for you a NASA broadcast from yesterday. Might not make it through the whole thing, so, but you'll get the point.
Good afternoon from Mission Control in Houston and the International Space Station Flight Control Room, rejoining our coverage following this morning's rendezvous and docking of the Nyoka Multipurpose Laboratory Module to the International Space Station. That docking occurred this morning at 8:29 a.m. Central Time, 9:29 a.m. Eastern Time. Over the course of the next 3 hours after docking, Russian cosmonauts Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubirov of the Expedition 65 crew were conducting routine leak checks of the interface between the Nyoka Multipurpose Laboratory Module and the International Space Station, had opened the hatch on the Zvezda service module side of the docking interface, and Russian flight controllers, along with the two cosmonauts, were in the process of integrating other commanding activities between the newly arrived MLM, or the Nyoka, and the Zvezda service module.
Okay,
At 11:40,
I have to pause it just for a second so I can bring you over to the desktop here, just for a minute. So this is the module. Whoops, this is the module that they launched just recently. I'll read about it in a little bit here, or actually I'll play a recording that I made yesterday of me reading it. But I just want to show you some images of what this is and what happened yesterday. So I just can't do too much while I'm playing this, or it kind of gets skippy. So here we go.
5 a.m. Central Time, the Nyoka Multipurpose Laboratory Module's thrusters began to fire inadvertently and unexpectedly.
I guess I'm having a problem here. What I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to have to leave that image up. Sorry, I won't be able to change the screen while we're listening to it.
And that resulted in the International Space Station going about 45 degrees out of attitude. The crew was never in any danger. The flight control team here in Houston immediately acknowledged the situation. The crew began to work recovery operations on board to regain attitude. The ISS Progress 78 cargo ship that is docked to the Poisk module on the zenith side of the International Space Station's Russian segment was brought into play by the Russian flight control team, who responded very quickly. The Progress thrusters fired, and attitude has now been regained. So the station is back in a normal attitude configuration, while the Russian flight control team works through procedures and ponders how to stop and arrest the thruster firings of the multipurpose laboratory module.
Okay, I think I'm going to stop playing it there. But so if you didn't catch what he's saying, this module right here that finally launched, and this is a problem thing anyway, but we'll get into why. Because when you build something in 2004 with 2004 software and the technology from 2004, and then the launch gets delayed until 2021, it becomes a problem. And things don't work the way that you hope they would work. Things that are under warranty on this module, their warranty was already up before it launched. So the thing had to keep being upgraded and parts replaced and tanks replaced, and now they docked it to the space station, and so now what it's doing is it's firing its thrusters on its own, autonomously. So they have a couple other ways. They have a vehicle called the Progress that's attached to the space station that's counter firing its thrusters to keep the of the space station where they want it, or to keep it in control. So, two things that this brings up. One is there's a lot of people that will hear this that laugh at of the space station. They say, "Oh yeah, space station." Get the joke, and it is funny. But did the water go out of their, or that was Joel from More Than a Flame said that this morning, and I get the joke. I get it. But the deception that you guys are seeing, is being misunderstood. You're not understanding it right. Let me go to the description in this video, and let me read, if I can get there. Let me read what I wrote here. An unexpected problem happened on the space station yesterday. Yeah, I know, it's fake, and they have me fooled. More accurately, the devil has you believing him instead of the Word of God, and you are struggling against flesh and blood and being prevailed against. You are thinking men are lying to you and deceiving the world. The Bible tells another story where fallen angels and evil spirits up in the sky are deceiving the whole world, including all those elite men who you call they all the time. The devil deceived the whole world, not the whole world minus a group of elite men. The wicked men in this world believe the wicked things they do. They actually do these things, and they believe they are doing the right thing when they do. So, if you're thinking the space station is fake, why don't you do this? Oops. Why don't you do... Where is it? We're having technical difficulties. Okay, why don't you do... I gotta find it. Why don't you do this? See, that's me on the screen. That's my telescope. Why don't you do that? You do that, and you tell me what you're seeing on the viewfinder. Okay? Because just about every day, I can go outside and watch it fly over. Just like this. Whoops. I'm trying to rewind it to get it there and watch it again. You tell me what that is. That's not fake. It's something in the sky. It's a light in the sky. That couldn't have anything to do with blaspheming God, could it? Couldn't have anything to do with treading New Jerusalem underfoot, could it? Because if you look up at the night sky, you're going to see some things that haven't been up in the sky very long. This has been up there 20 years. So, that's what I have to say. The flat earthers tend to say the word they a lot when it comes to the space station. Oh, they're lying about that. They're making a hologram, or no, you guys don't understand. What we're looking at right there is not even in our world. It's not part of our world. And it is deceiving the world. Okay? So, does it have to be fake? Does it have to be a lie filmed in a swimming pool to deceive mankind? Or could it just simply be something that men have learned how to do by making rocket engines and rockets and learning how to go faster and faster and faster? That's all that it is back in Gemini and Apollo. They learned all these things during that time, and now they're being used by men Men are doing these things. They're flying these rockets. But what's happening is men are being deceived by those evil spirits in the sky. Not by men on the ground. And it's... Here, let's go to the desktop really quick. Here's what I want to show you this. This is what Paul wrote to the Ephesians. And I think we all probably heard this verse. Okay. If we go just to the KJV, it says something like, we do not struggle against flesh and blood. But look at the Greek, how it words it here. Because not is to us the wrestling against blood and flesh, but against authorities, or it says rulers here, but against the rulers, against the authorities, the cosmic powers. So let's just see what that means. What does cosmic powers mean? My computer's a little slow, so bear with us. Strong's number 2888. I don't know if I clicked it. Yeah, I did. Okay. Cosmocrator. A ruler of this world. Ruler of this world, that is, of the world as asserting its independence of God. Used of the angelic or demonic powers controlling the sublunary world. Is that talking about men? Not at all. An epithet of Satan? Okay, so the rulers, and it says one other thing. Or the cosmic powers of the darkness. What's darkness? Where's darkness? I mean, I'm just saying, be honest with yourself. There's only one place that we would call darkness. That'd be the night sky. Right? I mean, if you have a closet and you don't have a light in your closet and you close the door, that's darkness. But it's not thick darkness. It's not the same kind of darkness. Remember when God created the heavens and the earth, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters? That's the darkness I'm talking about. That's the darkness that there's actually, look what it says here. Darkness, either physical or moral. So there's kind of like two kinds of darkness. I'm trying to scroll down to Strong's Exhaustive Concordance. Oops. It's making it hard to scroll on the computer. So this darkness, though, it says shadiness, obscurity, literally or figuratively, darkness. Okay, the one I'm speaking of is literally. Paul Levi says outer darkness. Remember when Jesus would cast evil spirits into outer darkness? And also called the deep. That word means abyss. So there's darkness upon the face of the abyss. Or an abyss. Just think about that. What do they do in the space station? What do they do in the space station? Why are they floating? Because they're falling perpetually. They're in the sides of the pit. This is something that the prophets are revealing, if you're paying attention. It's not something I'm making up. The sides of the... It says in Isaiah 14 that Lucifer says he's going to ascend into heaven and exalt his throne above the stars of God. And then it says, but he will be brought down to the pit, to the sides of the pit. That's where space is. Captain Caveman, are you kidding me? Again, your channel? Hey, keep it up. Keep putting them videos up. I'm trying to give you a wrench, but my computer's kind of taking its sweet time. Oh, it's because I still have this. I had the edit page open. There we go. And give Captain a wrench. He keeps it clean in this chat. I'm just kidding. I like that. Don't jab me, bro. Don't test me, bro. Don't tase me, bro. Okay. So let's get back to. Let me play some audio for you. Here's the point. The point is this: the space station isn't fake. It's not being faked. That's not the deception that's in the Bible. That's not the one that is in the Bible. There's a deception in the Bible that the whole world believes. And then there's the gospel of the kingdom that's preached, and people come out of Babylon. And that's happening today. Psst. Today, it's happening. So these spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Where's the heavenly realms? It's up in the sky. So that is where our adversary is. Up in the sky. Let me play. Hopefully this will play. Where are we here? I'll try to get something different going on the screen. But so this is why the reason why I'm pointing this video out is because the attitude of the space station was out of control yesterday. And autonomous technology has something to do with inspiration from the sky, from this darkness. Because all the things like this module, this Nauka module, which I'm going to talk about, or I'm going to be reading Wikipedia about it a little in a second here. This module is old, and it's been upgraded, and it's old. And they put it up there, and it's screwing their flight path up. So what I'm trying to explain is that there's going to be problems up there with everything they do from this. Well, there has been the whole time, but there's going to be low Earth orbit won't be a thing for very long. Okay, that light that we see, that you watch me film with my telescope, that light isn't going to be going over. It's not going to be doing that. It's been doing it for 20 years, but it's going to have to stop. And in 2004, the Roscosmos, the Russian space agency, stated that Nauka would be ready for launch in 2007 on a Russian Proton rocket. However, in November 2006, an ESA bulletin mentioned that the Roscosmos was negotiating with the ISS partners to push back the prospective launch date to the end of 2008. The Nauka project was delayed further to 2009. In October 2011, it was reported that Nauka was expected to be launched at the end of 2013. It was reported again in May 2012 that the launch date had been pushed back, this time to 2014. The next planned launch date was April of 2014, according to Vitaly Lapota, president of RKK Energia. On October 25, 2013, Parabolic Arc reported that Nauka was flawed and had failed acceptance testing at RKK Energia. Problems found in the propulsion system included a leaking fueling valve that needed to be replaced and contamination which would require a lengthy cleaning. The module was to be returned to Khrunichev for repairs, which would take another 12 to 18 months. On 27 of November 2013, it was reported that Roscosmos had informed NASA that the launch had been postponed until at least 2015. In April of 2014, it emerged that the target date for the launch was postponed to February of 2017, as a new propulsion system needed to be manufactured due to the installed system having exceeded its warranty. A leaking fuel valve had also damaged the module's exterior plumbing, necessitating the replacement of most of the plumbing. By November of 2016, the tentative launch date had slipped to mid-2018. However, in December 2017, the launch date slipped further with a projected launch of March of 2019, before a 20 of December 2018 launch date was confirmed. In August 2018, Roscosmos head Dmitry Rogozin set a new launch date of November 2019. However, the propellant tanks were found to be contaminated with metallic dust in 2017, requiring repair and replacement work. A tentative new launch date in June 2020 was set, but not met due to the repair of the fuel tanks being initially unsuccessful. NPO Lavochkin was slated to produce new single-use fuel tanks based on the frigate upper stage. Production of this new fuel system installation into Nauka and additional testing delayed the launch to sometime after 2020. On October 17th, 2019, TASS released information on the successful repair of the original tanks, so frigate-based tanks were not needed anymore. As a result, a launch date of Nauka in November 2019 was confirmed. On 14th of November 2019, the Russians informed the European Space Agency that the launch of Nauka would be postponed again for at least 3 months. A launch date in 2021 meant that further work on certifying the aging equipment was required. On the 23rd of January 2020, TASS reported that the rollout was postponed until the end of March 2020 to allow for the replacement of valves on the Nauka fuel tanks. On 4th of February 2020, Dmitry Rogozin said the module required more testing because the warranty had expired and testing could only be done in Moscow instead of Kazakhstan, delaying launch further. Testing was scheduled to be completed in May of 2020. On 21st of February 2020, the construction of the Proton rocket was completed and the stages were shipped to Baikonur. On the 2nd of April 2020, TASS reported that repairs to the valves were complete, but the module system had yet to be tested and was required before the model could be shipped to Baikonur, which moved the rollout to the end of May 2020. Due to concerns over the novel coronavirus, work had been suspended until the 15th of April 2020, but systems testing was performed by a skeleton crew until work resumed. Despite the coronavirus, work never stopped despite the delay and a limited workforce, and Nauka was shipped to RCS Energia in time for vacuum testing, which took a month. Rollout was scheduled for the last week of June or first week of July. Nauka faced another coronavirus delay in July. Blah, 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 right? So that's how these things go. it was like proposed in the 90s, and it finally got up there in 2021. So what I'm playing on the screen is Starlink satellites. They're a thing, you know. Just more lights littering the sky. There they are. There's like 1,600 of those up there now. So it's really going to continue to be harder and harder for people to like say that they're faking things. They're clearly not faking anything. And like I was saying in Ephesians 6, it's clear this is what Paul wrote, and this is not the only reference to our adversary. It's not flesh and blood. It's not men. So I don't care if you talk about Rockefeller or you talk about Bohemian Grove or you talk about any of these things that are so popular in the truther community. They're lying. They're lying about the shape of the earth. They're lying about this. There is no they, okay? So the people at NASA that are doing whatever they're doing at NASA, they're actually doing that. The deception comes in. Why would the space station be deceiving the world? Oh, what does the world talk about the future? What do they talk about us doing? Going to Mars, becoming multi-planetary species. That is where that comes from. Low Earth orbit. Oh yeah, we can live out there. We can live out in space. And they don't even understand that they're actually flying sideways into outer darkness, into a place that's spiritual, has no physics. So put something up there in the firmament. That's another thing that people have a problem with. They say, oh, nobody could get through the firmament. Well, that's not what God said. When God came down to the Tower of Babel and confounded the language, he said, with one language and one tongue, that nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Do you think men have imagined to go to space? You think men have imagined a solar system? Michael Kahn is in the chat, says he begs to differ. Men on the ISS is clearly faked. See, that's the whole... You don't believe Paul. You don't believe John, what he wrote in Revelation. What did he write in Revelation 12? Let's go there. Or I'll go there, or try to. In Revelation 12, verse 9, I think, he says that it's Satan that deceives the whole world. That's the people that you're saying are faking the ISS. He deceived those people too. Get it? They're not fake. And that's actually the reason why. Okay, every time I watch people that are talking about this topic, an example is Wes Blaze and Sean Griffin doing Uncommon Ground. It is painfully hard to watch. Like their last show was called It's Not Rocket Science. I agree with almost nothing that they say in that on that topic. They're clearly looking from the outside, looking in, assuming what we're talking about here, that they are struggling against flesh and blood, and that there are men in the world that can lie to you and lie to the whole world and deceive the whole world. I'm just looking at the chat here. Paul Levi says, smash your TV. I agree. Michael Kahn says, they are. I can prove it. How can you prove it? That would be interesting to talk about, I'm sure. Because I could also say that I can prove that there's a space station up there. I've filmed it. It's on a very strict trajectory that is predictable. And here's the thing is that like we could go watch, because I'm not good at coming up with like what these people say, like when they're talking about this being a deception or whatever. I'm not real good at saying whatever they say or knowing what they say. But ideas like NASA's filming everything in a swimming pool. That's just clearly not true. If you think they're filming everything in a swimming pool, you really aren't paying attention to all the media that they put out. Gary Cooper says, what happened with the space station yesterday? There was a Russian module that's old. That's like from, basically it was started in 2004. And so all the software and everything on it's old. Well, it docked yesterday to the space station, and like 2 hours after they were hooking everything up, and all of a sudden it just started inadvertently, unexpectedly firing its thrusters. And so the space station just started turning, like changing its attitude. That's why I named this stream Bad Attitude. So that what happened is the Progress, which is another Russian module, cargo module that's attached, started firing its thrusters to counter the unexpected thrusting of the new module. And the way it sounds to me, that it's going to be like that until they can figure it out. So what happens if the Progress ran out of fuel to fire its thrusters and counter they would start spinning. And there's other ways that they can counter it, that, like, I'm not saying that it's like the end of it or something, but it is definitely not a normal thing to happen. And if you notice, if you go watch NASA's broadcast, they're talking about zenith on the space station. You know what that tells me? The space station is also in a place, or it's also the place where it is the same orientation as the Earth. What I mean is the Earth is always beneath them, and there is a up and a down where they are. In low Earth orbit, there's an up and there's a down for everyone. Doesn't matter if they can float upside down or something. The Earth is beneath them, and the sky is above them, or they're kind of in the sky. Roderick says, I've been compromised. Let's see here. I think okay, I'm not saying it's not up there. I'm saying a station with men on it isn't up there. And that's, to me, there's a required implication there in your statement, though, Michael. By saying that, you are also at the same time saying that there are men involved in filming with the green screen and lying to deceive the world, right? And I'm just here to tell you, no, that's not true. There's crazy people that will get on the top of a rocket and ride it up at super high speeds up in the sky. Tony says, surfing the winds of the firmament. Enoch saw these guys doing this, Michael. Think about that. Enoch saw, he said he saw another host of wagons with men riding on them, and they were coming on the winds from the east to the west to the south. And the noise of their wagons was heard, and it moved the foundations of the earth out of their place. Rocket launches. NASA, you got some splaining to do. I like that, Gary Cooper. So yeah, the attitude was corrected supposedly, and they said about 50 times the astronauts were in no danger at any time. And I'm like, yeah, right. Like, there's having that module attached is probably a risk. I'm not ripping on Russia, although I am. That's like, okay, here's an example. Here's a comparison. Okay, you have an iPhone 12 or whatever, brand new iPhone, okay? And the camera on the back of your iPhone quits, okay? So you need a new camera, or you need the new camera part or whatever for your iPhone. And you take your old iPhone 4 and you're going to try to hook that up and make it work to your iPhone 12. Do you think that that's easy? That's what this module is to the ISS. It's like old technology that for some reason they're like, no, we got to launch it up there. We made it. We built it. We got to bring it up there. Otherwise it'd be a waste of time, you know. But then when they bring it up there, it's just malfunctioning and screwing up their whole operation. And the reason why this is interesting to me is because this kind of thing, just the same as I said, we're going to see more and more sparks in the sky from what we call either meteors or what we call deorbiting space satellites and things. We're going to see more and more of that. You're going to hear more and more sonic booms because of what's happening in the sky. The sky is not good. What they think is physics and what they think they can count on up there is not at all a physical thing that they can count on. It can change however those fallen angels want to change it. They're entering into a different realm that is a realm of darkness, and it's filled with evil spirits. That's what NASA's doing. And they think they're exploring, but that is the deception. And it's going to fool the whole world because that's what's written. And it's also written that there would be truth at the end. The gospel of the kingdom would be preached unto all nations, and then the end would come. So when we're talking about flat earth, there's a reason why. It's a good news that changes lives, turns people around, gets them to come away from a big lie. A lie that's so complex that people have a different understanding of what the lie even is. And like I have a different understanding than a lot of other people. But that's why I'm trying to explain it. In the Bible, there's a deception that happens, and it is not coming from men. It's coming from the sky. Literally the dark night sky. That's where the deception comes from. In Revelation 12, which I never got to because my computer didn't want to let me. Maybe it will now. Revelation 12, where's the war in heaven? Oh, I just said it. Where's the war in heaven? There's a war in heaven. And Michael and his angels fight against the dragon and his angels. Well, the dragon, that's what SpaceX is launching astronauts on up to the space station. Nimrod Paul says, is NASA aware that they are mingling with spirits, in your opinion? No, they have no. They don't think that there's any spiritual realm. They think that they're physical. Whoa, did I just lose my YouTube? I think I just lost the thing. Whoa. What happened? I'm still streaming, but I lost my... I think I might have hit the wrong button when my computer was acting a little slow. I might have hit the wrong button. So I am trying to... Google Chrome is actually closed. So I'm going to try to open it up. I don't know what happened. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know what happened, guys. I can't get YouTube or anything. No Google. If you guys can still hear me, I apologize. I don't know what happened. So I guess I'm guessing that you can't hear me. But if I keep live streaming it, maybe it will work. Okay, here we go. Google's opening up now. Is it going to say restore? What's it going to say? Yeah, it says restore. So for some reason, Google just died, and it's going to try to restore my page. No, it's not. Let's go into YouTube and see if I can go live again. My computer's thinking. Hey, there we are. Doesn't look like my live stream is going to be going anymore. Let's just try it though. Hey, it says I'm live still. No way. Anthony Rhodes says it sounds good. Thanks for the message. It says excellent connection now. I don't know why, but my Google Chrome just died all of a sudden. And now I'm having... You are still live. Awesome. Thank you, Anthony. That's so funny that it stayed live. I got no chat, but it says there's people here. So let me play a video while I try to... Oh, there's the chat. It's back. Cool. I can't believe that kept working. Let's check this out just for fun. Ooh, if it will. What's going on? Oh. There we go. Let's check this out for just a couple minutes while I try to get my stuff back here.
This is hopefully the first step on a journey towards a civilization on Mars, a life becoming multiplanetary.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years.
And think to change times and laws.
Life can become multiplanetary. This is the goal we should strive for.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, 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 and them that dwell in heaven, tabernacle in heaven.
I believe that it's important for the future to be a spacefaring civilization and out there, ultimately be out there among the stars, be out there among the stars.
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord.
Be out there among the stars,
Among the stars,
be out there among the stars.
And though thou set thy nest among the stars.
If the future does not include being out there among the stars,
Based on the moon and expanding beyond Earth and
among the stars,
be out there among the stars. Life becoming multiplanetary.
the long-term aspiration is to develop the technologies necessary to transport a large number of people and cargo to Mars in order to create a self-sustaining civilization there. And that's really why I started the company, was because it seemed as though...
To create the possibility for life on other planets.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you decide you want to try and do this.
Can't just be like a handful of people, because that's obviously not going to create a self-sustaining civilization.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. It's hard to
So, are you guys ready for something on the lighter side of things? Build it back again.
Do that. Well, we'll have to rely on space instead.
The problem is the moon. The problem is the moon. We don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology in a nanosecond. We don't have the technology to do that anymore, and it's a painful process to build it back again. I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond, build it back again, build it back again, build it back again, build it back again. We used to build it back again, build it back again, build it back again, build it back again.
We used to
Build it back again, build it back again, build it back again, build it back again. In a nanosecond. Destroyed that technology, destroyed that technology. Build it back again, build it back again, build it back again, build it back again.
Well, I kind of have two moons in my head, I guess, whereas most people just have one moon. I look at the moon just like everybody else who's never been there. There it is, and I've always thought it was interesting, whether it's full or a sliver or what have you. But every once in a while I do think of the second moon, the one that I recall from up close, and this
I want to promise you I'm human. I pinched myself to find out whether it was really happening. I called the moon my home for 3 days of my life, and I'm here to tell you about it. That's science fiction.
My father was born shortly after the Wright brothers. He could barely believe that I went to the moon.
hard to believe that I was actually up there.
Barely believe.
Science fiction.
Barely believe.
Science fiction.
Barely believe.
Science fiction.
Barely believe.
Science fiction.
Hard to believe that I was actually up there. Actually up there.
Science fiction.
Actually up there.
Science fiction.
Because there's no gravity. You're floating. Because there's no gravity. You're floating.
Science fiction.
Because there's no gravity.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
We didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
We didn't.
And that's the way it happened. It didn't happen, and that's the way it happened. They'll make sure you go to school.
Continue to just produce imagery of all types. And the more we put out there, the more real it becomes to everyone. And the more we put out there, the more real it becomes to everyone.
And sometimes that is really difficult to believe that it could actually be true. It's difficult to believe that this is happening. It's difficult to believe sometimes that it's actually happening. And sometimes that is really difficult to believe that it could actually be true.
I'm Don Pettit, NASA astronaut. Space station is a serious place. We have a regenerative life support system, which is a fancy way of saying serious research, scientific research, that we've got a toilet that you use, and then a machine that goes chugga, 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 chug, and then you go to the galley and you make yourself a cup of coffee. Serious research, scientific research, and that's exactly what you are thinking it is.
But water is such a precious resource up here that we also are cleaning up our urine and making it drinkable, and it's really not as bad as it sounds.
Better you than me.
We even recycle our urine.
Pig.
But before you cringe at the thought of drinking your leftover wash water and your leftover urine,
Chugga, 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 chug.
Kind of engineering research that we're doing on space station. I want to do some physics demonstrations. Chugga, 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 chug. Some eggs. And don't ask me how I got to eggs on space station. I've got a bungee spread across the hatchway. Serious research, scientific research. And this bungee is kind of like a slingshot. And I'm going to show the trajectory that Redbird is going to have when I fire him with this orbital slingshot. Launching Redbird into space. Well, hey, we're already into space. Chugga, 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 chug. Whoa, look at that. Whoa, all the way down. Guess what? Chugga, 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 chug. Chugga, 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 chug. Chugga, 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 chug. And if you understand the math, if you understand the physics, it will allow you to go out and get where you're an astronaut and you can fly in space in games. This is all that's left of Pig after Pig got exploded. Chugga, 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 chug. Chugga, 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 chug. I would go back to space in a nanosecond. That's what I do for a living. I'd be willing to immigrate from Earth, immigrate into space, leaving Earth and never come back, so long as, one, we had the technology so that you could survive. You know, one-way missions to Mars where you go there and then run out of air and die. That's not in the cards. I'd load my family up on the next rocket and we'd immigrate into space.
Okay, so where does the pee go if you do it in the spacecraft?
In the spacecraft, it's collected and then dumped, as he described. And you would want to see the urine dump was cool.
And it's just something that it's a continual occurrence. It's like a very small rain, a drizzle, and it's just something that you have to engineer around when you make a spacecraft. Well, I would go back to space in a nanosecond.
Get thee hence, Satan. For it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve.
I think it's going to sound pretty crazy.
Spacefaring entities. Just the launch is difficult enough.
Can't really give you much of a clue as to where this data ended up.
A city on Mars?
Jupiter. Jupiter. Saturn. Saturn. Uranus. Uranus. What? Uranus. No, Uranus. Uranus.
Everyone just thinks rockets just go up. I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond.
Just the launch is difficult enough.
We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
So with that, that will conclude our briefing. Thank you very much.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake, honestly. And it's still tripping me out. I mean, I'm tripping balls here. Tripping balls now. Tripping balls here.
The Crew Dragon. The Crew Dragon to get us from Earth to low Earth orbit. The Crew Dragon, the Falcon 9 rocket into space. Crew Dragon, Crew Dragon, Crew Dragon, now here on the International Space Station.
Orbiting laboratory. Work is being done up there.
The International Space Station is outside the Earth's atmosphere in space. Tricky spacewalk. Astronaut on the International Space Station to help keep the space station running. Maybe you're working on the toilet to understand dark matter to space. Thawing out, human cells to return that science to Earth's microgravity laboratory. It's like 6,000 square feet up here in the International Space Station. There's a lot of other people up here. We're going to be here for 6 months. We're in it for the long haul, which is also very exciting.
Spacewalks and using tools in space.
The Artemis program.
The Artemis program.
The Artemis program, and the work that we do right here on the International Space Station. Been an astronaut, oh gosh, I'm just not going to be any good at that. Space station, we're looking back billions of light years. It's kind of mind-boggling.
To the space station.
I experienced some nausea.
How is sleeping in space?
Because you're just floating. It's not used to just floating. And so it does feel a little weird.
Floating up in space.
Our planet is 2/3 covered in ocean. Of course, I love to look out the window at our beautiful planet. It's lovely to look out the window and watch the world go by. Well, it's got to be floating. You can just kind of perch up on the wall. I can just hop over to the side and just find a nice little perch to sit on board the space station.
What does it smell like in space?
So that's an interesting question. So it smells like people up here. It's not really fresh air. When people went out to do a spacewalk and then came back inside, I smelled the smell of cooking meat. It smelled like hamburger to me, which was so strange. And that smell is the smell that space smells like hamburger. It smelled like hamburger to me, which was so strange. We have so much fun up here. It's just a great time up here. I smelled the smell of cooking meat, and we're getting paid for it. 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 Maybe you're working on the toilet. And so it does feel a little weird. Oh gosh, I'm just not going to be any good at that. And we're getting paid for it, 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 paid for it. I smelled the smell of cooking meat. It's kind of mind-boggling. And we're getting paid for it, paid for it.
The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
And then as soon as they wanted to open the hatch, the cosmonaut and astronaut who were with me told me,
"Oh, Jesus Freak is live." Well, that means we're probably going to go watch Jesus Freak. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I lost all my Googles. Where did my Googles go? Whoops, I don't want it up there. Okay, I'm getting a page open. Let's go watch him for a minute. Sorry. I'm getting there. Where are we? There we are. Gotta bear with me. My computer's really slow when I'm live streaming, so I don't know if it'll even play. There he is. Deceiving the whole world. Oh, I wanted to watch this. You know what? We might have to end my stream. I think we're gonna. But I'm gonna just say hi and tell him that he's live on my channel too. I'll grab a link for the video and put it in the chat. Nimrod Paul. Whoops. Whoops, that's probably my computer going slow because I just tried to put the link to that video in my chat, and it's okay. It looks like it's going in there. So you know what I'm gonna do? Whoops.
I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one goes to the Father except by me.
New research in Britain has raised concerns about the potentially harmful effect of nanoparticles. The emerging technology is used in a variety of medicines and even sunscreen. The research found that the small particles could damage the DNA of cells.
They're tiny microscopic particles which can store and release drugs in specific areas of the body. As a result, nanoparticles are increasingly being used in medicine and surgery. But because the particles are so small, there's been growing...
We're going to go over there. That's what I'm going to do. I put the link in the chat. Let me make sure it's in there. And Jimmy Williams says, obviously he's bonkers for Jesus. That's awesome. So yeah, subscribe to his channel. That's awesome. Paul Levi is over there too, and a bunch of people. So I'm gonna go over there, and yeah, so that's this live stream. So thanks guys, and have a great day. Talk to you soon once I end this stream.